Hello everyone, and welcome to Epic Randomness. My name is Branson, and today we are talking about Pokemon and the fabric of its world. Gotta stop stuttering, I'll get there eventually. Alright, I just tried to record this and it didn't work, so I'm gonna try it again. Alright. Possibly one of the most important Pokemon in Pokemon is the Unown. Now, most of you will know, Unown are come in the shape of letters and exclamation or punctuation points, I should say. This is very interesting, especially in some of the movies, because the Unown can be seen as the code of the Pokemon world. Just like we have binary and Python, which are all letters and numbers. Unown are like the words that make up the fabric of Pokemon's like software of sorts. Especially when you consider the only movely word, Hidden Power, which normally is a different type depending on the Unown or I think other Pokemon's IVs and stuff. But in Legends Arceus, Hidden Power was changed so it always deals super effective damage, which is very interesting because that made it a weaker version of Arceus' Judgment. And that, of course, brings us to Arceus. Arceus, as most will know, is the creator god of the Pokemon world, the alpha Pokemon. It was said to have created, or at least started the creation of most of the things in the world, mostly by the Pokemon that it created. And it has an interesting connection to the Unown, such as in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where we see Arceus use the Unown to make one of the Creation Trio dragons. Which, here they are. They are all dragon type, which I think you will find is important and just has a lot to do with why they are the way they are. Another important Pokemon is Mew, which is said to be the ancestor of all Pokemon. I believe that Mew was most likely created by Arceus, especially when you consider the Lake Trio, which have a very similar look to Mew, and are also all psychic type, as you can see. I think with Mew being the ancestor of all Pokemon, I think the Mythicals are a good example, because all of them except Magearna and Diancie, for this particular picture, look kind of similar to it in some ways, just small, tiny little bodies. A lot of them are psychic type, even. But there are some Pokemon that I believe were not created by Mew, or descended from Mew, such as Regigigas, Ho-Oh, Lugia, the Life Trio, the Original Dragon, the Weather Trio. It seems more likely they were created by either Arceus or some other forces. There are also man-made Pokemon, such as Castform, Mewtwo, Magearna, Genesect, Porygon, Golurk, and Type Null. We all have dex entries explaining how they were made by other people. Some are more well-known for being man-made than others. This all ties back to Infinity Energy. Infinity Energy is the life source of the Pokemon world. Everything in the Pokemon world has Infinity Energy in it, especially the Pokemon, which are just packed full of it, as well as things like Megastones. It's how Mega Evolution works, is an overabundance of Infinity Energy. We learned this in X and Y and Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, particularly when AZ shot off the ultimate weapon, hitting a meteor, filling it with Infinity Energy, and sending the Mega Stones, down to Earth. It is also how it is most likely how Pokeballs work, and we know Magearna was supposed to be like one of the first Pokeballs. It is most likely how the Z crystals work, because if you think about it, a Z move isn't that much different from just like a move used by a Mega Pokemon. And Dynamax, which can apparently is supposed to be like a projection, but either way, it get big. Like, it's not that hard. And all this really ties back to the Dragon type. The Dragon type is very special in the Pokemon world. It has some of the most powerful Pokemon, and the moves that they have are, some of them have very interesting entries. Shockwave, mystical powerful dance, Shockwave of pure rage. Eternatus has Dynamax Cannon and Eterna Beam, one of the strongest dragon type moves, and also moves in general, is Draco Meteor. The signature move of two of the creation trio are dragon type, Roar of Time and Spatial Rend. Everything about the dragon type kind of comes back to magic, arcane, mana, mystical, powerful, just powerful in general stuff. And that brings us to the legendary dragons. Many of the legendary dragons have a tie to some sort of stone. And even then, just some of them, just stones in general in the Pokemon worlds, are oddly special. You have the Adamant, Lustrous, and Greasius Orb for Palkia, Dialga, and Giratina. The Jewel of Life from the Arceus movie. Evolution Stones, Mega Evolution Stones. The Darkstone and Lightstone, which Kyurem and Reshiram just are controlled by. I can't remember which one it is. Z crystals or stones. Wishing pieces or stones, probably. I think it might be Park of Eternus, but it doesn't matter. Arceus, we know, comes from the word Arceus, which is an alchemical term. It's less of a thing and more of an idea, if I remember correctly. And the Arceus can be broken down to 4 ethers: chemical, life, light, and reflective. Eternatus is the chemical part. It's poison type, acid, corrosion, toxic, smell, pollution. Those are very chemically things. And we know that Dynamax energy originated from Eternatus. We also know the Eternamax Eternatus looks like an arm with a hand. And Arceus was said to have 1,000 arms. So if it was part of Arceus at one point, it makes sense that it would have been like one of the 1,000 arms. And maybe the rest were unknown, or some of them were the other dragons. I don't know. Zygarde is the life Pokemon. Everything about this Pokemon is life. Land's Wrath, its Dex entries. It's the balance between life and death, between Xerneas and Yveltal. It doesn't have a specific tie to a gimmick like most of the other ones do, but, it's a Pokemon of life, Infinity Energy, Mega Evolution. Those things are all kind of tied together, and it is the Gen 6, sort of, one of the legendary Pokemon from there. Ultra Necrozma is the light part of Arceus. This is easy. Literally in Bulbapedia it says, Ultra Necrozma, a colossal dragon of pure light energy. It's called the Prism Pokemon, which are almost entirely light-based rock thingies. When it combines with Solgaleo Lunala, it's called Duskmane Necrozma and Dawnwings Necrozma, both of which are light. Dusk and Dawn are forms of light during the day. And also, I did not know this, Ultra Necrozma undergoes an Ultra Burst to it transform. This is similar to Mega Evolution and Primal Reversion. So it's basically, Ultra Necrozma is a Mega Evolution that's more complicated. As we know, Z crystals come from Necrozma. And then the original dragon, or Kyurem, is the reflective part, because ice is reflective. We know the original dragon is important. Or an unknown legendary dragon-type Pokemon is the origin of Terrestrialization. We know this now for certain, because we've seen it in the Scarlet Book, and they will most likely be coming in the DLC in next year. And we can probably guess that Pokemon is the reflective part of Arceus. Maybe. It's more likely now, because I made this before the games came out, and I was like, oh, yeah, we're pretty certain. Alright, thank you guys. Little tip here, why there's a Flapple here is because it's my favorite Pokemon, just so everyone knows. Alright, thank you guys so much for walking. Go do take a walk, it's probably good for you. But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.